This is okay. This is like the mature biker. You know,
Oh, is this what it
ain't
is?
nobody doing turbo rails of coke in this room. It's just we're doing a nice big rail, doing a big line of essential oils to clear us out.
It's so much better now.
Oh man, that's really really good for my sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Feel less constipated already.
We just working out our problems and our constipation.
That's right.
Sons of arthritis. Ibuprofen chapter.
There you go.
Well, hey guys, what's going on here? River Sullivan coming at you right here, yet again, and right now, or whenever it is that you're listening to it, either on any of the other forms of social media, anti-social media out there that you've been listening to, or maybe right back here on the good old-fashioned way of YouTube, how we got our start, listening and wondering at our words as to how the hell it is that we actually have a show. Just sitting there, sipping on a cup of tea and watching the bullshit fireplace on the old television set. We got a little bit of a treat here for you guys. So with me, yet again, was the other hetero life mate, the silver fox of superpowered coffee. Hey, Scott, how are you?
Great.
I'm fantastic. Thank you for the coffee, by the way. Scott made us a French press coffee with a lot of coffee in it, and I can see into the future right now. But also here with us this evening, tonight, and whatever friggin' time we're doing things, my other brother. But in terms of brother, it's a different style of brotherhood. It's what you'd call the biker brotherhood. The man that always has a plan. He's probably hidden more bodies than the mafia. No, he hasn't. No, law enforcement. My other friend and partner in crime here, a man that you guys will get to know here intimately from his adventures abroad, our friend Big
Ed.
John. Hey, John, what's up?
Not much, man. What's going on?
I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I might have had a stroke because words are hard right now.
Your left side's a little strokey.
Is a little tingly right now.
Your eyelids are twitching.
A little bit. That's just what day is today? That's just Sunday, man. Yeah.
Living my damn life.
So this week, guys, we're going to talk about and tell you some stories about some of the adventures abroad that we've all had here. And mainly, we had Scott here on the show here. Scott is a old friend of mine from back in my biker days. I mean, those that didn't know, the old River Sullivan here used to be somewhat of a motorcycling fiend. But how long have you been riding bikes here, John?
Oh, about 21 years now.
21 years, and you are how old?
35.
I like it.
Yeah,
I can't do math right now.
it's a lot.
It's a lot.
Most of my life.
A lot of fingers that I would have to hold up.
It's a lot.
Started off with an 883 Sportster
Oh, that was your first one, was an 883?
at 13.
Nice.
Yeah.
My first one was a 1200 Sportster at around the age of like 24,
There you go.
25. Yeah. Not built for it.
No, fat guy, not friendly. Not friendly.
No, not at all. And especially like hell, like if you're over 6 foot too, like
Yeah.
it's a bad look. I made it work though.
I mean, there's so much you can do to him.
Oh no, I didn't do jack shit to it. I put a mustache bar on it just so I could stretch out once I muscled into 5th gear. But yeah, they're
Always get them foot cramps from the
oh, they're trying to you got to reach all the way back to the shifter.
Yep.
I had a 4-wheeler once.
No, look, those little 1200 and 883s, man, they weren't terrible. But I've sat on one. Was it last year in the summer? And because this guy we worked with bought one, and he'd never ridden before, and he had to travel like 30 some miles from the dealership to his house where he was going to transport it home. And I was like, "You ever ridden before?" He's like, "It's my first bike." I said, "You know how to ride?" And he goes, "It's my first bike." I said, "Okay, you go outside, and I'm going to go bring this thing out." So it's a little 1200, and I sit on that. It was just my knees are up to my chest, and I'm just like walking this thing like a fat guy waddle going on now. And there's like these 2 old bikers just staring at me, just kind of looking, shaking their heads. No, ain't nobody asking them no questions. And I just look at them, I was like, "It's not my bike." And they just go. They're starting out. All right.
That's it.
So, what's the longest trip you ever been on?
Probably Uniontown to Daytona. I'm not 100% sure on the mileage, but that was probably the
Okay.
longest. I did. We did like 2,200 miles last summer from town down to Myrtle. And
Ooh.
the tail of the dragon in North Carolina, Virginia. We hit a bunch of states down there.
What were you on then?
That Ultra.
That Ultra
Mhm.
Glide?
Yeah, the couch.
Yeah. I've seen photos, man. That thing's like a lazy boy.
Yeah.
Longest trip I was ever on was on that Sportster. And that was from pretty much like your northwestern corner of Great Falls, Montana, clear down to pretty much here. On a Sportster with no windshield, no saddlebag, no sissy bar, no cushy seat. I had a rucksack, like the old ruck with like the Alice gear on it. And that was pretty much it. I had a gallon of water and I survived off 14 power bars because the military was supposed to pay you for your travel when you leave. And they kind of paid me as if I had a jetpack because it was supposed to be like $3,000. And I ended up getting like $256 and some change. I said, I'm crossing the country on a bike with a 2-gallon gas tank on it. I could get 100 and some miles out of the tank before I was like almost in dire straits. They said, oh, well, yeah, sorry. Okay.
Right.
So I grabbed a gallon jug of water from the BX, from the base exchange, and then just got an armful of power bars, and it was like $14, and the rest of it went to fuel. Now, that leads me into something that I'll ask you here as well, but I'll start. The weirdest / scariest experience on a motorcycle I had was on that trip in a couple different ways. One, it was my first real run-in with like the 1%ers. I ran into the Banditos. Didn't pull over. I was still driving. I was still on my bike, and I was going through like the national forest, like big redwoods and stuff like that. It was super cool. But I swear to God, I could smell them before they got there. Like I just felt a disturbance in the forest, and I looked, and mind you, that Sportster is like 4 foot long. It's like a midget bike compared to any other bike out there. And I hear it, and I could like feel that disturbance in the forest. And I look in my side view mirror, and I just see this fleet coming up, and I'm like, oh, this is not good. And here they come, just slowly merging up. So I get my ass over into the right side of the road, and they're still coming. And like I can see through the turns, there's just hundreds of them. I'm like, what the fuck? I don't know what's happening. And one breaks off from the pack, the lead bike, and runs up next to me. Okay, so to paint you this picture though, I had this helmet on that had like a 3/4 cover, like a leather thing, and I had that skull face wrap. But since I wore glasses and I didn't have a windshield, I had these halcyon, like the World War II fighter bomber goggles. They were tinted though, so you couldn't see my eyes. So with all this on though, it looked like a skull, like it was kind of badass looking. And I got like a Fonzie jacket on, and I got my little neckerchief because it was hot, and I had to get that in water, keep the cool big rucksack on. Like I was just looked like a straight drifter. And this dude who was just okay, everyone, picture the scariest biker that you can imagine. You got it. All right. That's what was up next to me.
So he looked like John?
Yeah. It might have been you, asshole.
I ain't saying a word, man.
But he pulls up and just looks at me, and I'm just like this, just staring straight ahead. So I slowly drift my head off to the left, and I'm looking at him. And all I say is all that stuff I had on my face, thank God that was there, because I just had like this stupid grin. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Hey, what's up? And he just kind of looks, and it just felt like forever. I got lost in his eyes, and he just gives me this slow nod. And I said, I gave him a nod back. And then they just went past me. And then I pulled over and let them all pass, and I got off my bike and smoked a cigarette, and I think I peed a little bit. But
Did you do the Dudley? Give them this one as they drove by.
no, I didn't, because I was just holding on. I was like, I don't give a shit who you are. Like, there's a lot of people I see just in the biker world that say like, fear no man, fear this. Look, man, I know when I'm outnumbered. Okay. Didn't matter how much leather I was wearing, that they had enough bats. Like I knew how many hits in the head that I could take probably before that helmet came off. It probably wouldn't have been that many. We'll take a break from biking for just a hot second. Because like we said, Scott here, not a biker, but the man is a military veteran and has traveled. What is the weirdest traveling story or the weirdest traveling experience you've had?
I don't know. I don't know if I can think anyone relate to biking other than
Well, it's just traveling
like,
in general,
Having a quad.
in a pretty little city in Afghanistan called Kabul. bikers are something you want to keep an eye on because normally that's where the V-bit is.
The B-bit?
Vehicle born ID.
Ah.
So like if they're wearing lots of clothing, you know, big old vest, you know, might be lurking under there.
Mm-hmm.
So like that, they would always set off my spidey senses, if you will. Get a little bit of a pucker factor because, you know, over there's no traffic laws, so they'll weave in and out of traffic, drive over hoods, kids, livestock, whatever.
So now that actually makes me raise a question. So when you got back here to the States after a while, did motorcyclists make you a little bit nervous on the road?
No, I mean, vehicles in general will sometimes. Like, I'm real weird about certain things. Like, I don't like tailgaters or like what I perceive to be tailgaters, which is like within getting 15 feet of me. Like, that kind of like really aggravates me.
Yeah.
Like, especially if I'm in the right lane, you know. But the only time like bike riders will do it is if you always got the one dude that's on the crotch rocket running up the middle of the interstate at like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah, splitting traffic.
That bothers me just because it's like a sudden surprise. I'm like, oh, no. But bikers in general, no. It's normally other vehicles, you know.
Yeah.
The more expensive, probably the more likely they are to make me mad.
Mm. Well, there was a study done by, I believe, Stanford University back in 2012, and they had a list of the top-rated vehicles that you would see on the road that would scientifically and I guess statistically be proven to be the most aggressive douchebag drivers. Number one, that metallic blue BMW.
Yep.
Y'all, like, as soon as I said that, I guarantee you all saw it in your head. Does anybody ever see that metallic kind of darkish blue? Everybody already knows that guy or that gal.
Or the Silverado.
Yeah. Yeah, and I actually do believe number two was like Chevy pickups. The Silverado.
Yeah, I could see that.
Just instantly pops in my mouth.
But what was it? I used to own a Ford F-150 years ago, and I'll never forget, like, most of you guys know, I don't drive super fast on the interstate. It's just economics for me is gas mileage. And I was driving this F-150. It had the 5.0 V8 in it. It had the good motor, in my opinion. And I'm just putting up the mountain, just doing my thing, play my piano, sing my little song, man. And this truck just comes like flying up, like just about eats my ass, flips over into the passing lane. He's like flipping me off and stuff. And I was like, oh, it's a Chevy. And I look and it's a Chevy driver. Like, I don't have any opinions on Ford versus Chevy. Like, if anybody ever asks me what's my opinion, say whichever one that, if I'm driving it, it's whichever one I got the better deal on. I could give a shit. If the vehicle breaks down, it's the vehicle. I don't blame the manufacturer for it. Unless it's, you know, like Bridgestone, Firestone. You remember those tires? The recall from those?
Blowing out
they were
for
just
no reason.
exploding and like mass death was occurring. Anytime I see the commercials, like even as a kid when that happened to me, was those commercials that I went, Firestone. I mean, I was like 11 years old when that was happening, but I still haven't forgiven y'all.
Thanks for making me feel better. I had them on my Jeep right now.
I think I got Falcons. I don't know. We just got her that Chevy Equinox, used model, 12,000 miles.
All right.
Yeah.
Falcon's a great tire too.
Well, I got Falcons on mine. She's got this brand I have never heard of, and it was like something Claw.
Oh,
White Claw?
Yeah, white Claw tires. You let them it's like, seltzer.
Oh, I know that brand.
They're mean as shit looking. Like, they look nice.
They should wear pretty good if it's the kind I'm thinking of. I can't think of the first name.
Yeah, I'd have to look at them, but like they're mean looking. I was very impressed with it, and the fact that it's a 2-year-old car with under 13,000 miles. I went, oh wow, my car's 2 years old. The one I just got, and it's already got 51,000 miles on it.
Speaking of biker related things,
Okay,
there was a thing that Afghans used to do with bikes, which was they would take one and then they would like make it into a trike. They would put like a truck bed on it. So like we call them El Caminos. But their technical skill, I think some of them were pretty limited. So like if they had taillights, big if, they probably wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, may have hit one or two in our time. No, I mean, not like, but I mean, traffic over there, rubbin's racing.
Yeah,
like
that's what I hear.
realistically.
Right.
Yeah.
There was I want to say it was my brother when he was deployed. He had they got the beanbag one off their bike because the bike rode clear up on their convoy, and they hit him with the beanbag round, knocked him off there, but it destroyed his bike. So they had to pull over, give him a couple of cases of water, but then they had to have like the public relations guy come out and give him like $20 for his bike, but apparently with $20 he could buy like a fleet of those bikes.
Well, and see, that's the other thing that became like a racket because like what we did is we carried like claim forms for them that they could fill out and turn in.
So they doing insurance
Yeah, like
fraud?
this, like here, this a form. Get out of here, you know. But what they would do is they would intentionally try to wreck us after a while, or like come in contact with us and then try to get us to stop, and then that leads into a whole escalation of force thing. Is this guy just trying to talk to us, or is he trying to blow us up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
or is he just trying to claim insurance?
exactly.
Get a new scooter.
Yeah. Well, that's terribly. That's really bad in Russia. Like
accident fraud.
Well, yeah. I mean, you could look up montages of that because everywhere in like Russia and mainly the EU is everybody's got a dash cam,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a whole montage of people trying to like pretend they got hit. Like one
I
guy
saw that.
like he was talking in Russian, but the subtitles were like going, "Look, this guy's going to try it." Said they've been watching him, and they pulled up there, and this guy went like this and turned like he was going to get hit, but that guy hit his brakes like 6-10 feet before that guy, and he went and like fell back like he got hit, but there was nothing there. Like he just fell back onto the pavement because there wasn't a car to catch him.
I
So he
think I
just,
saw the same thing because I saw one where the guy just like laid down on the hood, was like,
yeah, there's like one where a female, she's like beating the crap out of the hood and then like flips out and then like lays down on the ground, starts seizing. And every time though, you can never tell what they're saying, but you see that driver get out and like they're talking, you see them point at the dash cam, then they get up and like
Brush themselves off and walk away.
This phone mounts, man. That's why I just have my phone mount like on the dash. When I had my other car, I would just mount it just like that, just in case. So it'd be like dash cam.
we did the same thing. We used a GoPro.
Mm-hmm.
It helped a lot.
That ridiculousness had a whole show of nothing but that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about ridiculousness. I like it, but those guys are. It's kind of annoying. Like
Yeah.
they're starting to. I can't believe it. I'm like, it just feels scripted. A lot of it feels way more scripted than it should.
I agree.
Like there used to be that in this era we had Lex and Terry on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And they would do all the stuff that they did on ridiculousness. And I remember they had one show where they were talking about that. They were pissed. They were like, we're not going to try to sue them, but if you do timestamps on this show's inception and go back like a year or two, said we've been doing everything that they've been doing prior to them doing it. And they pretty much took everything that they did and made a TV show out of it. And now they're making all this money.
Right.
But also in the same turn, Lex and Terry are like, I mean, they're $1 million disc jockeys. Okay. I have a hard time taking serious a complaint from people like that when their only job is to get on the radio and do dumb shit and make dick jokes for 5 hours a day, and they make more than all of us in this room combined.
Lucky.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing?
We're sitting around making bullshit dick jokes, but we're
Yeah.
not getting paid for it.
Right.
Unless there's somebody out there that would like to sponsor the show.
Hint, hint.
I had to unsubscribe from Manscaped, though, because I tried to get in contact with him, and the robot on Facebook Messenger was like, hey, here's a coupon. Here's a coupon. I'm like, leave me alone. No, answer the question. Here's a coupon. I'm like, stop. Would you like to stop? Yes. Jesus Christ. Like, they would just, at all hours of the night, 3 a.m., ba-ding.
Would you like to know more?
Would you like to upgrade to the Lawnmower 3.0 with a ceramic blade? Don't get me wrong, it's a wonderful product. I own Lawnmower 2.0, and I love it. So what about you? What's your weirdest thing there, John?
That would have to be on that same trip going down to Florida. I had a 72 Ironhead, rigid
Okay.
frame, no suspension. Only cushion was
The seat.
inch seat. Yeah.
And the air in the tires.
I had just finished building that bike a week before I was going down to Florida. So I'm test driving it as much as I can, flying up and down these back roads, trying to
Mhm.
make sure that it'll last the whole trip down.
Yeah.
I'm coming up around this country road, and as I'm coming up around it, I'm leaning all it had, scraping pegs and pipes. I come up around, and right in the middle of the road is a cow standing in the middle of this. Do you want to talk about an asshole eating a seat?
Did you lock eyes?
I closed my eyes, just leaned a little bit more, and come back up real fast, and luckily, I don't know how, but I missed it. Got off the bike. I didn't even smoke back in, but I just took like a 20-minute breather, you know what I mean? Jumped back on the bike, went, filled the tank up, headed to Florida. That was like the the quintessential, all right, ain't nothing gonna happen. Let's go.
So how you liking that new bike? That was it 2020 Road Glide Special?
Oh my God, man. Words can't even describe how nice that bike is.
Yeah.
I've never felt a bike more smoothly powerful, I guess
Mhm.
would be the best way to put it.
Electronic throttle control.
Yeah, it's just
that fly-by-wire, man.
It's just crazy. I mean, it's so comfortable to ride. All the power in the world, and I really didn't do that much to that one. I did the stage 2 kit, pipes, air cleaner, and a tuner, which added about 30 horsepower. So I'm at like 120 at the rear tire, which is
my Renegade's got 180 in all 4 total.
So I mean, it got all the power in the world. But then on the same token, I just pick up that old chopper yesterday that ain't got no suspension, 30 over Springer.
You're still looking at it probably just as much.
Yeah, I just
you see that potential in it, man.
Yeah, I love them all, man. It's a sickness. It really is.
See, I'm not much of a gearhead like that, but like I am good at seeing the potential in things. Like with this room, with this studio, I saw that before we even got this house, and I said, this is what this is going to look like. One of the weirdest comments when I had, because my last bike that I owned was a 2014 Street Glide Special. Like you guys seen, it was a desert tan with gold flake. Scott over there actually took me to pick it up when I first got it. I took a ride down to Morgantown and went down High Street, and I had parked there for something. I think I was going to like Jameson's to get a drink or something. And like this wiry black guy, like just out of nowhere, was like, "Man, that bike is dope, man." And I'm like, "Hell yeah!" You know, like it's nice though to get complimented on something like that. Like it's just a vehicle to most people's eyes, but like on a bike, there's just something about it, and you get compliments on that. Like it just makes you feel good. But he said something to me to this day, it confused me. He's like, "Man, that thing got the touchscreen. You got the Jippus on there?" I'm like, "The Jippus?" He's like, "Yeah, man, you got that Jippus?" I'm like, "What the hell? What do you mean Jippus?" He's like, you put the button, man, to the satellite link up, and then you get out there and you can find places. I'm like, "Oh, the GPS? Yeah, it's got the Jippus on it, man." So ever since that, I call it Jippus.
That's it. That road glide got it. Man, I never knew how much that thing would come in handy.
You notice with one, that's the one thing you don't have to pay for,
right?
Which surprised me for Harley. And 2, there's little marks all over the map that you can put notes in there that other riders will put notes into that network and be like, "Hey, potholes ahead."
Yep.
I was like, "Holy shit."
Yeah, it comes in handy a lot. A lot of food, bikers and food go hand in hand too.
Yeah.
A lot of nice old back of the country mom and pa restaurants.
Oh, and it has all that shit. But what was it? Google. Me and her, when we took a trip up to PA there when we were going up past Aliquippa, Google warned us that there was cops sitting on the road.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. Like we were there, it says, like Google just all of a sudden goes, "Warning, there's a speed trap ahead." And I look and like we slowed down a touch and sure as shit, 2 cops sitting right there in the median. And I looked at her, I said, "You know what? Skynet's all right with me. I don't care if it's controlling my life right now. Thank you, Skynet. Thank you. Thank you, CIA."
Till it starts messaging the cops going, "Hey, these guys got drugs."
Yeah.
You fly by and they're watching Google.
Yeah.
The Jeep Renegade has marijuana in the car. Like,
oh,
what?
Gosh.
No, we don't.
Not again.
Google's a snitch.
What's the sketchiest thing that you ever happened to you on the scooter?
Sketchy, like accident-wise?
Yeah.
Well, the first day I owned a motorcycle, I totaled it.
Good times.
First day on that 1200 Sportster. It was the Nightster edition. I bought it. It was 2008. And the 09s had just rolled out of the factory. And I was looking at buying a used one. And, of course, young kid getting told, "Well, we can get you a lot better deal if we get you the new one." I said, "Well, all right." So again, it's just beautiful gloss black with the 1 grade pinstripe, has the rubberized shock covers on it, spoked wheels, has a real old school look to it, short shot fenders. Just fell in love with it immediately, sat on it. It just felt right, even though it was twice the size that I should have been for that bike. But first bike, you don't care. And I was all excited. Got the paperwork done. They had a big bell, like the ship bell that Long John Silver's would have, that you ring for good service.
Right.
Like this is like you get out there and you smash that bell.
And your nuts drop 3 inches.
Yeah, like because that meant you signed the papers and you're now a Harley, and you went up, ding, and like everybody in the shop goes crazy, like yeah. And they're like, "Mr. Sullivan, you're the first man on this part of town, in this part of the country, to own one of these Nightsters." Like it was the first ones rolled off the line. I was all proud of that. So I'm rolling back to base. I already called my buddies. I'm like, "Yo, meet me at 295, guys. I got something to show you." I get on base, man. And I just completed the rider's course that they did on base, and I rode a 250 Honda Rebel for like 2 days, and I was like ready. So 250 cc's up to 1200. I was like,
nothing,
whatever. And I should have known because it like jerked me back as soon as I gunned the throttle. Like when I left the dealership, and I was like, yeah, you got this. You got this. I don't think I left third gear the whole time. It was like 6 miles, speed limit 60 miles an hour, but I'm doing like 35. I'm just wild hogs, baby, wild hogs.
I'm free.
I managed to navigate my way on the base, and I get to the last turn to meet my buddies. And it was a stop sign. I'm like, all right, let's get out here. And you know that whiskey throttle, they call it that, where it jerks you back, and when it jerks your arms back, you pull
stuck.
back more on the throttle, and I just let go of the clutch, and it just dumped it. And I swear to God, I think I did a wheelie. I'm not sure still to this day. But it went, you're supposed to lean into the turn. No, I did what you're not supposed to do. I straightened up. And the curbs on base were 18 inches because of all the snow we got in Montana. That way the plow could just pinball his way down the street and never have to worry about, nicking anything. Well, I plow straight into that curb. It bends the wheel. Chipped the triple tree fork there that knocked the left side of the handlebars into the gas tank, denting it. Bike goes straight up in the air. I land on my back to look up just in time to see this thing smash into my left leg. And it just lays on the throttle. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I look and I see a flight crew out, and they're running up, and I managed to I crawl out from under it and just pick the thing up like it was nothing.
I'm good.
And that's what I was like, it's okay. I'm a trained professional. It's okay. And they're like, you good? I'm like, I'm good. And I like limp back on the bike. I'm in pure denial. And I turn the bike back on and drive it to the building where all my buddies are waiting. It's like, wee, like going, like the front wheel is like, looks like it's shaking. No, but I'm not turning it. Just the wheel is just all fucked up. And I pull on one of the turn signals is dangling off, and all my buddies are there. And I'm like, look at this, guys. Oh, shit, look at this. And I'm hurting. I feel my leg, the inside shin on my left leg, it just felt like a softball underneath it. My first sergeant was like, you need to go get checked out. I said, no, I'm good, sir. I just gotta take this back to the dealership and have them just buff.
Look at it.
Just gotta buff this out. It'll be fine. It'll be just fine. So I limp all the way back to the dealership, which was like 5-6 miles at about 10 miles an hour in first gear, and it just and because you go above that and it would start to wobble real bad. So I could manage to muscle it down, and like cars are honking at me. I'm screaming at them, go around, like pull into the dealership. And I swear it's like those two same old bikers are sitting there smoking cigarettes, looking at me, and I'm just like, hey fellas, and they're just shaking their head. No, ain't nobody asking them any questions. And the guy that sold me the bike is talking to a customer in the window, and I see him as he looks up, and I watch the wash of emotion hit him, where he's like, oh yeah, it was it. And he just his smile disappears, his eyes got real big, and I can't hear him because of the glass in the windows, and he just mouths it there. He's like, what did you do? So I get in there and I said, hey man, you remember how I'm the first one to own one in this part of the country? I'm probably the first one in the whole country to have it in the shop already on release day. I totaled it. And he's like, oh my God, you did. It says, yeah, I just bought that bike and then financed it for 5 years. And I was scared to death of it for a little bit. And I was like, I bought something I can't ride. But I had to force myself. Once they got it fixed and got it out of the shop, I forced myself to ride it. And I'm glad I never looked back. But yeah, she still made it across the country.
Right.
And that's why we have safety briefs.
There you go.
You're that guy.
I was that
The
guy.
reasoning for it.
I was that guy. My fault.
I mean, did you marry a stripper that weekend too?
No.
Should have just marked all the check lines off.
You got to hit the lower enlisted checklist there. You know,
Look, man, the strip clubs in Montana are not what you'd call pristine.
Yeah.
I ever tell you about Really Wendy's?
I don't think.
There's a place called Really Wendy's.
I think I've heard this. You're going to like this.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And it was like out in the farms, like way out there in the sticks. So me and my buddies drive up there. And I want to say it was actually one of the last times I went because it scarred me so bad. We get in there and it's just like a plywood circle on a pedestal with a pole in it. And there's like a little sad jukebox stereo CD player from like somebody's classroom playing music. And this woman comes out, and she was an attractive woman, good looking. The one thing though that threw me off was she was an amputee. Below, I want to say it was her right arm, right below the elbow. So she had like the upper part, but
Tell
not
me
the
she
lower.
had a hook.
No hook.
Oh.
It was just, the nub. And I was kind of awestruck because, like, good for her. Good for her. She's brave. She's earning a living. She's probably got kids or something. But what got me was, like, the amount of uproar in that room from all the locals. They're like, yeah, there she is, yeah. And I'm like, fuck, she's popular, okay. But what did me in was she's doing her dance, swinging around the pole and everything, and then she takes her bad arm and does like this,
Chicken wing.
yeah, like around the pole, and then I hear it, this drunk performer goes, oh my God, it's the chicken wing, it's her signature move. And I'm like, I lose it. I was like, I gotta go. Thanks for the drinks. I gotta go.
Question.
Uh.
Did she give half off for hand jobs?
Oh God, no.
I had to. Couldn't pass it up.
I was treading oh so lightly because I don't want to offend
I'm
people,
that guy.
man.
I'm that guy. I will.
That's what I gotta respect about you.
Yeah.
This coffee, man. Like,
You are welcome.
Right.
I'm sitting here talking. I'm like,
Drawn in there.
what's going on? Like, the spirit of Michael J. Fox has possessed my right hand right now.
Oh, but I'm the
Let's
bad
get some
guy.
more of this.
Nah.
Did you see we have some delectables here?
Boom, boom.
Oh, I didn't see that. So you got the wild tiger over there.
Yeah, we got Boom Boom and Wild Tiger right there. These are long expired. So we got a couple energy drinks from overseas, if you will. Was it written in Farsi or?
No, it's in English, but it was.
I mean, like the rest of it. There's English and the other language.
Yeah, Arabic. Yeah,
Arabic.
I may have ridden the tiger a time or two.
So before you came in, me and John were reading the contents of Wild Tiger.
Oh yeah, it's the real deal.
Miscellaneous.
Yeah, there was one that said one part of the can that says miscellaneous additives.
Yeah.
Doesn't really specify. Somebody's nose is whistling.
Come on, my bad.
You're like a.
Forgot to trim.
You got to trim that, man, because the dog is going to start howling here with you.
Impregnance.
Yeah. It says it's not recommended for pregnance.
I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100%, but I think some of the miscellaneous ingredients may be nicotine. I've heard that rumor before.
It's going to be hell trying to capture that whistling noise. You want some breathe? I got some breathe.
I don't know what that is.
It's an essential oil on a roller. You rub it on your nose.
So I just shove this in my nose?
No, you just like right here on the bridge. You just do a little line of that. Just do yourself a
And we started off with a biker show.
Only how it goes.
do a little. This is like the mature biker. You know,
Oh, is this what it
ain't
is?
nobody doing turbo rails of coke in this room. It's just we're doing a nice big rail, doing a big line of essential oils to clear us out.
It's so much better now.
Oh man, that's really really good for my sleep apnea.
Yeah.
Feel less constipated already.
We just working out our problems and our constipation.
That's right.
Sons of arthritis. Ibuprofen chapter.
There you go.
I got my dad one of those shirts, man. He loves it. You're Scott the Sound Machine.
My bad.
This week on This Evening Night, we're going to play
AI Dungeon.
Guess That Noise. It's like,
My body just makes noises I can't control. I can't help it.
I did a karate kick in the house earlier today and threw my hip out, I think. Like, I don't know. Don't ask me why I was doing a karate kick. All right, don't
That was my first question.
worry about it. Kumite.
I'm training up.
Trying to be a cage fighter, boys.
You want to do karate in the garage?
We just become best friends.
Yep. Scott, do you have any questions you'd like to consult here with a couple of members of the biker community?
Not really. I mean, like I've seen, there's been times in my life, like when you see like the Legion riders and stuff, I'm like, oh man, that'd be so cool. Like, man, I got to get one of those. And then like the practicality of being middle-aged and having a family, you're like, yeah, you know. But I mean, I see the appeal, you know.
It's definitely a sickness. There is no.
It is.
I can see that.
Yeah, once it's in you, man, you're screwed.
My biggest regret in life is not getting on one sooner.
Yeah, like if I wish that if I'd have done it, I'd have done it when I was younger, you know.
I think my dad.
Never too old to be young, Scott.
That's it. Keep you alive, or kill you real quick, one or the other.
I felt your heart rate kick up because
But I mean,
we're planting a seed right now.
Yeah, but that's not my world, you know. So
Yeah. Doesn't have it's anyone's world. That's the thing about motorcycles. It's anyone's world. Now, the thing that's not anyone's world in the motorcycle world is the other part of the motorcycle world. It is the world where you wear the leather vest and stuff like that. I know, and I'm shaking real bad because this shit pisses me off because there are people out there that watch TV shows and then go, you know what? I can be that guy, so I'm going to get my vest and my bike with a bullet cowling on it and put my Jax Teller shoes on and riding through this world. Fuck you. I fucking hate those people.
Agreed.
Because they are the stain on the biker community.
Posers.
Whether or not you're riding for a charitable cause, like any 501c3s out there, or you're the Bikers Against Child Abuse, or you're the Freedom Riders, or you're the Patriot Guard, or whatever. Or if you're riding as a 1% group, because the 1%ers, they have their code and those guys abide by it. That's one thing I will definitely give, like most of these 1% groups, is they have a code and they follow it. Okay. These amateur hour douchebags that watch a TV show and like, I get on this bike, I'm going to be a badass. Yeah, that's just how it's going to be. Like, no. Thoughts, John? Give me some thoughts.
I agree, man. Everybody wants to be a biker till it's time to do biker shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where them posers come in. Oh, man, I could do this, until you're slapped with, Johnny Laws up in your face and whatnot. And next thing you know, oh, man, maybe this ain't for me.
Yeah.
And then those are the ones that talk shit on all the other ones.
See, like that's my realization, right? I rode for a 501c3. I've mentioned it before on the show. I used to ride with Bikers Against Child Abuse, and I was a huge advocate for the cause. Still am. The only reason
it's a great cause.
Yeah, it's a huge commitment though. Like they said, like if you're full time with it, you could be looking at 80% to 90% of all your free time is eaten up with that.
Mm-hmm.
So for everything else though that I'm trying to do with my life, like it was beneficial and probably the best choice for me to step back from it. Also, I sold the bike because I was clearing my debt to buy a house. Still regret it. Gonna get back on there. Don't worry.
I know, in like a month, right?
I knew that's where I lied at though. Like that's kind of biker stuff I could do. You asked me to go run guns and meth and shit. Like I'm like, no, like cause that's late. It's gonna be late. We got to do it at like 2 a.m. or
My
something.
wife says I can't be out past dark.
Yeah, I got shit to do. I got to go chop wood, or I got to run to the grocery store tomorrow, man.
It's a commitment, man. It's definitely a lifestyle. When you decide to go the route of the patch or whatever you want to call it, it really is. It's time consuming. I mean, I'm a member of a riding club. We started it up from the ground up. We went through all the channels and got the OKs and did the hierarchy of respect and all that good shit. And
now, which one's that?
Full Throttle Disciples.
Okay.
Yeah, we started from nothing. Wrote our bylaws. Like I said, the proper channels of respect was preceded, and we know that there's a lot difference between the MC and the RC. The MC is that full commitment. You're in it 100%. With the RC, you get all the brotherhood with none of
that real commitment.
All of our members are fully committed, but we know that family, jobs, life happens.
The pecking order.
Right. So with us, it's, kids and family before all.
So Scott, you know the difference between MC and RC?
I do now.
So MC, Motorcycle Club, RC, Riding Club.
I love it. I mean, it's the same brotherhood with none of the real time-consuming commitments. Like, everybody's kids and family comes first. Without the kids and family, you can't really enjoy the scooter unless you're a single man, of course. But
yeah. So,
I mean, it's wonderful, man. You just got to find your niche. Just don't be that Sons of Anarchy asshole. Yeah. That's all.
If you want to be the Sons of Anarchy asshole, go ahead and be that guy, but don't be surprised when somebody does come along and put you in your place.
Yeah, like I've been around clubs my whole life. I've been dabbling here and there in every aspect of the biker lifestyle that you can think of, and I'm happy where I'm at now. It's kind of that happy medium where you can have your club and your family, and it's all one. You know what I mean? Because
do the biker stuff you enjoy and still be with family,
but it's
have a
all
job,
family oriented. There is not a bike event that we go to or we
You're pretty much taking all your biker stuff and like eliminate most of the sketchiness.
Throwing the family in the mix. You know what I mean? So
replace your the sketchy stuff with family stuff.
right. There's not an event that we have that nobody's kids or families can't come. Good times. Good time.
What are you thinking over there, Scott?
I tell you, one thing that did surprise me, I found this out when I was deployed, was the international appeal of biking.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we stayed in a barracks with a lot of different nations, but like the Belgians were really hot on Harleys and riding. Yeah, surprisingly enough. Like, I know there was a couple of them that were planning, because one of the guys I was with was he was into riding bikes. They were planning. Was there something called Rolling Thunder?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They were talking about like having their bikes shipped over just for that. I don't know if it ever actually happened, but
it's a chase of that freedom, I think. I really do. I mean, as cliche as it is to say, there's no more freedom than being on two wheels and the wind hitting you in the face and just everything around you. I mean, it's just.
I could see that.
It's
well,
addicting.
I'm not going to lie either. It took me a little while to experience that. I was riding for a while, but I was so nervous about it because I was a new rider. The only thing I was focused on was riding correctly
and not crashing.
and not dying. The whole dying thing was like
day two
was in my head
that you started. Because day one was a wreck.
Day one was a wreck, and then it took me a long time. I'll tell you, I was very careful on a motorcycle after that, and that's the thing with owning a bike. I firmly believe that you will wipe out. It's not a question of if, but when.
When, yeah.
And I just did mine on the first day. I got it knocked out because, knock on wood, I haven't really had anything like that when I was riding after that. Never. I laid it down when it was standing still. Like, I had the weight off of it because that street glide was almost 1,000 pounds. And if you tip the weight on them wrong, just getting on it too fast or something,
top heavy quick.
It'll just tip over. Never really had anything bad like that ever since.
I went down to Myrtle Beach. I went down hard. Years ago.
Was it on the beach?
No, it was on the main strip. We were going to the Waffle House for breakfast. And you know how South Carolina is, how you can't make a right turn. So we had to go to the stoplight to go in between the lights and come back up the other side. Mm-hmm. This car in front of us stopped, and then a guy on the bike slammed his brakes on, and I went over my handlebars.
Oof.
And completely wrecked the front end. I limped it down to a custom shop. And the guy was swamped. I'm like, look, I'll do the work. I'll buy the parts off of you. Just give me a corner of the garage. And he did. And then when I was done, he was like, hey, man, you want a job? Yeah. So I actually did. I stayed there for like another 2.5, 3 hours just changing tires and stuff, helping him out with the light work. Made a couple $100 and went and partied. Hit up the suck bang blow that night. And the rest of it was pretty fuzzy.
Yeah, it was. It probably wasn't until I had my second bike that I really experienced that, because that Sportster was so small for me. And my second bike was a Honda. It was a Honda State Line modeled after the Furies. And the Fury was that chopper that they made, that production model. I got on that, man. I was able to just stretch out comfortably. And I remember you feel like the handlebars and everything just kind of, it fades away. Like I started focusing in on the ride and just everything that you experience with it. And it was the closest that I think we'll ever come to flying without wings. A buddy of mine actually said it best, was because he was into crossroads and everything. He rode like hell, but he said that he's like, man, the only thing that we got, he's like, what's the next step up for us on this? He's like, it's like fighter jets. He said that's really the only logical step up for a thrill if you want to utilize a vehicle.
Jetpack.
Hey, they're coming out with them.
Yeah.
They're getting there.
They got that hover bike now.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. One's like a quadcopter kind of thing. Now there's one that's like a blade in the front and a blade in the back, and you just tilt it and that fucker zoomed. It was like 90 miles an hour going through an old cornfield, and like it was fantastic. I said, I'm all for them until that asshole's parked next to me on a red light. He's just blowing gravel and dust and shit, dinging my windshield and denting up my car with just rocks.
I strongly suggest too that you take a long trip at some point in your lifetime. If you haven't yet, the bond that you make on the trip, you meet the best group of people in the biker community. They'll do anything for you just because you ride a scooter. You know, like there's still people.
When I left the military and I made that trip, and that was cross country, it was almost 4,000 miles, and I did that in like 5 days, almost 6 days. Because I was only able to knock out 200-300 miles a day on that Sportster, because it was that rough on me. I began and ended every day with 7 ibuprofen and a beer. because it just it wears your body out. And I did 500 miles one day because we went through like Indianapolis and then Chicago, and that was a white knuckle thrill ride because Indianapolis, those fuckers think they're in the Indy 500, 8 lanes of traffic, and everybody's just zip-zapping all over the place. And I locked it down in the fourth gear and just gunned it and started weaving through everything because I wanted to get out. But I cannot wait to do that again.
Yeah.
But next time I make a trip like that, I'm definitely going to be on a much bigger bike than a Sportster.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
I could have easily done that on this Street Glide of mine because, God, I knocked out 100 miles on that with a buddy of ours in just like an hour. And we got off the bikes and we're like, yeah, hey, you want to get lunch? Like I was like, yeah, it was absolutely fine. That fairing and the radio and all the bells and whistles made it so much nicer.
My bike normally don't come out of the garage without 100, 150 miles on it. You know what I mean? Per trip. It's just like the minimum.
Hey, when I had that Street Glide, I was living in town and I would take that Street Glide just to the grocery store and use them big bags in it.
Mm-hmm.
It was loaves of bread, gallon of milk. Like I actually had done grocery shopping on that bike before. I've done laundry on that bike before.
I had a Softail one time with 20-inch ape hangers, 8-inch risers, just completely death machined out.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to the pizza shop and brought home two pizzas and
Strap
a 2
them on the
liter.
back.
Nope. You know, on the Softails, how they got that girder in the front of the tank for your ignition switch. I'd prop them in between there and my fat gut through the pop in my shirt and hit home. I mean, you just when it's in you, man, it's in you. You just you make it work.
That's what I loved about Harleys with the hard bags on that Street Glide because they knew what they were doing. It perfectly fits an 18 rack in one saddlebag.
Yep. Now they're even coming with drain plugs in the bottom of them,
so you can fill them full ice.
Yeah.
There's buddy of ours he's got a cooler that goes in his bags, and it's perfectly form fitted to the bag. It's got that reflective, the cooling liner in there. He fills it full of ice and puts drinks in it. And him and his old lady would go on long bike rides, and they'd have sandwiches and beers or whatever they wanted in there. And then the other half he'd have, just whatever else. But God, ever since I discovered hard saddlebags, man, they were.
You're caught now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, before that, it was a backpack, and I always had earbuds in to listen to music. Which earbuds while riding a motorcycle is not as dangerous though as people thought, because little earbud, you can still hear everything. And God, even now, just thinking about that, because I got Bluetooth earbuds now. I bought them for running and stuff, and they're fantastic. If I get another bike that doesn't have a stereo, those things are great. Like,
you mean when you get another bike?
Oh, did I say if?
Yeah.
Oh, I meant when. I'm sorry.
Breaking my heart, man. Breaking my heart.
Hey, we'll saw the doors off my Renegade there. Chop the top, call it good.
It's just, I mean, there's so many memories that are made when you take trips, especially you go with your friends. Like I said, me and the guys from our riding club, we try to make one big trip a year, but we end up talking about it almost every day after the trip and before the trip about memories of the last one. And
hell, just about every time that I work with you, we're mentioning bikes or looking at bikes or talking about,
it's when it's in you, man, you're stuck. It's an addiction. Like I said, I was lucky enough that my dad was into them when I was little. So I was in 2nd, 3rd grade. All these other kids had their Mickey Mouse lunch boxes, and there I am with a full face helmet up there.
Yeah.
That's how I went to school. My dad would take me. Bought me that 883 when I was 13, and I rode it illegal as can be. I mean, I was 3 years younger than getting my license, but
I ever tell you, like my dad, he was into motorcycles, and my dad had a part of his past that I never knew. And I couldn't believe it because I'd grown up doing very similar shit when I was in the military. And then we'd come back and I would talk to him like I got the bike. And he had just gotten like this 07 Super Glide. And I said, how you like that? And I was like showing him mine. I was like, this is what this is. That's a voltage regulator, Daddy. I know that looks like a radiator. And he just stops me. He's like, son, I've been riding motorcycles for like 30 years. I'm like, hey, what now? Come to find out my dad had all sorts of motorcycles growing up. But when he met my mom and they got married, and before they had me and my brothers, he got rid of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
He used to race stock cars on like dirt tracks to pay rent. I didn't know my dad was Dale Earnhardt. Like he did that. And I never knew about that. And I remember as a kid riding in the back of the car with my parents, and I'd see a motorcycle. I was like, I want one. And they're like, no, you'll kill yourself. No, and my mom's all against it. No, they just get sucked up under 18-wheelers. It happens every day. It happens all the time. They just get... They had me convinced that a motorcycle just got sucked under an 18-wheeler because an 18-wheeler had like a jet engine like a turbine under the trailer that
Right.
just was sucking bikes in. That's all they did. And it would just, all the bike parts and body parts went into the trailer. So you should never get a bike because you're automatically going to get killed. Come to find out, full of shit.
Life
And-
kicks you in the nuts, man. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're having fun. You're having fun. You meet that one lady, and then it's time to settle down and all get rid of all your toys and stuff. But
hmm
man, when I can't give it up. I've tried 3 or 4 different times.
I'm pretty sure my old lady was a little upset when I got rid of my bike because she got her endorsement. Like she has her license to drive a motorcycle, but she's told me that she said if she ever got one, she's like, "You're driving it." I said, "You sure?" Because I mean, I'll ride on the back and grab a hold of you. Just grab the chest area there for comfort.
It definitely makes it easier when your other half likes the stuff that you like.
Mhm.
Like my girlfriend now, man, there ain't a time I have to be like, hey, do you care if we take the bike? Or, hey, let's do this. She's wanting on it more than me.
Yeah, she's like, "Why are we not
Yeah.
taking the bike? Why would we not?" Like,
Yeah, so it makes it definitely easy, man. Definitely easy. And I strongly suggest getting like a project bike, I guess would be the best
Mhm.
way to put it. For instance, it just happened last night. I picked up that chopper, and in the mix of picking
that was
it
a
up,
60-something.
64.
64.
Triumph, yeah. 30 over Springer, just straight up 70s, man. I mean, it's crazy.
You gotta go full easy rider with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like pearl whites
gotta get
and
that
stuff.
That 4-foot sissy bar.
Right. Well, in the
Land
mix
card
of,
in the spokes.
in the mix of doing all of it, you know, I had the kids there, and I was showing them some stuff as we were unloading and putting it up on the lift and all this stuff. Next thing you know, man, it was the first time I've ever seen these kids without their iPads in their hand for like almost a 3-hour span, and they never even realized it happened.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So they were asking all these questions, and what's this do, and what's that do, and what can we do to change this? And, you know, it was actually nice to see the kids do something other than
That was like the
playing
wonder I
iPad.
remember of like mechanics as a kid was when I was helping my dad with the cars or whatever. And it was always, you know, I mean, by helping, I mean, you know, holding the flashlight, getting yelled at
Getting
for not
yelled
holding
at,
the
yeah.
flashlight, right? But to look at a component of a vehicle or any machine and go, I wonder how that works. And then as a kid finding out, you can learn that.
Yep.
Where he's like, you want to learn? Yeah. Well, let's find out. Oh, wow. Okay. You know, like you can actually go in and play with parts and figure the shit out yourself. Like that was definitely one thing that I wouldn't say inspired me, but definitely is like, it's always intrigued me, modern mechanics or just anything having to do with internal combustion. Like I look at that car I got now and I have no idea how that shit works.
they're all computers anymore.
Yeah, it's all computers. 9-speed transmission in that thing. And I'm like, why?
Yep. That's why I
Yeah.
build them hot rods, man. Open
Yeah.
the hood, it's an engine. There's
Yeah.
the,
And plenty of room too.
Yeah.
Like you could live in most of those old engine compartments.
maybe 12, 13 wires at most, you know?
I'm pretty sure my car is made of wires,
Guarantee it.
Vacuum tubes.
vacuum tubes.
I think to make the connection, I think a lot of the appeal, if I'm getting this right, from biking is the camaraderie and shared experience. And that probably, like, the best way I can compare it to would be like some of the deployments that I've had.
Mhm.
Like when you say, like, you talk to your buddies about the stuff like all the time. Like whenever I get around a dude that I was, you know, I don't like to tell war stories because I don't want to seem egotistical. But if I get around somebody I have that experience with, we'll just BS all. Hey, remember that one time you were running to the front gate?
You
and
gravitate towards those people.
you know, you
Yeah.
fell down and busted your melon, you know.
Like-minded individuals.
That's it.
But that kind of makes sense because I know there's some military ties with the whole biking lifestyle. Maybe
Was
That's how it happened.
Yeah.
a lot of like like a lot of your original like 1% groups and everything started because they were all military
Right.
veterans.
Mm-hmm. And they missed that niche of the brotherhood.
What's
and the,
that makes sense.
what's the one MC that they got like the A with the eagle? It's pretty much like
Sons
the
of Silence.
Sons of Silence. Yeah, they just got rid of the star from like the
Yeah.
Anheuser-Busch.
And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
When they started their club,
they were drinking
they
Budweiser.
drank Budweiser. Yeah,
And
that
they were
was
like,
their,
let's start a club. And they said, we'll just knock the star off that. That'll be our logo.
that's exactly it. Man,
Solid plan.
I watched
Saw that on Gangland.
history with gang. You know, I've been into that lifestyle forever. You know what I mean? It's just awesome to me to find out how simple of an idea it was of, hey man, we're just going to hang out. And then
Yeah.
next thing you know, it's 50 years later. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That just dudes hanging out could have a legacy.
Yeah.
Like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, if you will.
With bib overalls and
Bib
Jimmy
overalls.
cap.
Yeah, the group of okay guys.
This is your piece of history.
That's it.
That's going to be our club. We're going to call it the group of okay guys, and we wear bib overalls because they're super comfortable.
Once again, it's not that secretive if you keep telling
I didn't say it was secret. Did I say it was secret?
Already breaking the rules.
We got like 27 subscribers on YouTube, man.
Next thing you know, we'll have
I'm
100.
probably I'm probably 27 of like the downloads out of the 28 we
Don't
get.
talk about Fight Club.
Yeah, that's right. That's the first rule.
God damn it. I'm not in the run for El Presidente of this. Well, all right, guys, that looks like all the time we have here for this evening tonight. Thanks again for everybody tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. And also, special shout out here to my two good friends here with us, Scott and Big John.
Big John.
Big John.
Thank you.
Don't forget to check out all the other different ways you guys here can listen. Either it be the old-fashioned way of YouTube with the bullshit fireplace. We also have Spotify, iTunes, iHeart Radio, Stitcher, and Sounder out there. So, all right, guys. Until next time, peace out.